All right. Hello, hello, hello. Good morning. Welcome back to Everyday Ease, a show that is all about sharing weekly tips for peace and productivity as a pathway to happiness. Because I believe that freedom and authentic happiness looks good on you. All right, so I'm your host, Chianti Lomax, a certified coach and transformation strategist. I help overwhelmed women move from overwhelm to ease. All right, and I do this through self leadership practices and liberation strategy. So here's a little context about where I started. About 15 years, for the past 15 years, I've been helping Fortune 500 companies and government agencies transform their people, their processes, and technology. And now my goal is to teach women how to transform their relationships with themselves, their families, and also their careers. Another part of my mission is to make positive psychology research accessible to the everyday person, just like you, just so that you could have more clarity, more joy, and more freedom in your life. So, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you were here last week, then you know it was a kickoff episode. I gave you just a little bit of information about what you can expect from me in the coming weeks. I'm super excited to be here with you today. We are kicking off a brand new series. All right. So, for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be discussing ways to kick stress and exhaustion to the curb. Okay. With school being back in session, vacation season coming to an end, and y'all know the holiday season is on the horizon. When you go into these stores, you see Halloween costumes, you see Thanksgiving decorations and Christmas decorations or holiday decorations. You see all those things. And this time of year, we all know it can get a little bit chaotic. All right. So, this is why we're here. Oh, we have some people joining. Good morning. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, John. Good to see you. It's been a long time. John is from my hometown. Good morning, Bellman. It's good to see you too. I'm so excited to see my people today. What's up, guys? Hello, welcome, welcome. All right. So, in this series, I know that a lot of people will experience in this, especially if you're a parent or if you have just you're juggling a lot of things. That's the driver for for why I wanted to do this series. So if you are just joining right now, good morning, good morning, good morning. I am your host, Chianti Lomax, certified coach and transformation strategist, and I help high-powered women move from overwhelm to ease through self-leadership and liberation strategy. And as I mentioned earlier, we are kicking off our BreakUp with Busy series, where we're going to explore practical strategies to help you let go of exhaustion and stress as a way of life. And we're going to be doing this over the next couple of weeks. This is just day one. Before I get started, I see I have some more of my people in the chat. So good morning, Kathy. I love it, love it, love it. Welcome, welcome. Tamika is here. Good morning to Tamika. This is my best friend since third grade. So we are full today. Let me tell you something. Y'all are up early with me, and I appreciate you. Hopefully you are caffeinated, tea, hydrated, water, whatever you need to get started this morning. Hopefully you've had those things. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. So today, we talked about kicking off this Breakup with Busy series, right? But let me tell you something. I'm a strategy girl. I love to talk about leadership strategies, mental health strategies, just ways to improve your life. But before I jump into the strategies, I want to talk about two words that might be blocking you from experiencing joy and high levels of mental well-being this time of year. Those two words are responsibility fatigue. Can anybody relate? responsibility fatigue, especially when you get towards that November, December time frame. The things be thinking, life happens so fast. It's family, it's work, it's all the things. So we're going to talk about two words: responsibility fatigue. So, what does that mean, actually? So, I want to talk about what that means. So, responsibility fatigue happens when you start to feel overwhelmed due to an excessive number of commitments. Can anybody relate? Anybody that's hanging out here, can you relate to having an excessive amount of commitments during this time of year? And this can be in your personal life, this could be family, this can be work related, or if you're an entrepreneur, this could be business related, this can be friend commitments. People are inviting you to all types of things, or it even can be financial overload. Maybe you're helping out a lot of people right now, or you have a lot of expenses during this time of year. All of those things are what contribute to responsibility fatigue as a definition. All right. And so now that we know what, oh, I see Tamika says, woo, yes, welcome to my world. Tamika, I know you could relate. We talk about this all the time, responsibility fatigue. So one of the main contributors to overwhelm is that more things and people are demanding our time and our internal resources, right? And so I love this quote from psychotherapist Leah Avellino. She says, the number of hours in the day remains the same, yet our expectations for ourselves have multiplied. So we still have the same amount of hours in a day, but the responsibilities, the commitments, those things have multiplied over time, especially if you have a family, or you have you've joined more organizations, or you're moving up in the ranks at work. You don't get more hours in a day, but you definitely are responsible for more things. And so that's what I want to talk about over the next coming weeks. I want to talk about, how do I manage this, and how do I break up with being busy all the time? Like, how do I do this stuff? How do I manage this stuff? All right. So I want to look at what's happening in your world. And in order to get to the strategies, one of my favorite quotes is, in order to get to the fruit, we got to get to the root. So I want to get to the root today. And you might be asking, so what does it look like? So how do I know, in addition to what I've said already, but how do I know that I'm really experiencing responsibility fatigue? And I'm going to give you the 6 signs that you are currently experiencing responsibility fatigue. And this is in no particular order. All right. So if you're ready, I want you to grab a pen or open up your notes app on your phone, because I want you to capture the 6 signs that you might be experiencing responsibility fatigue. All right, let's start with sign number 1. You are always exhausted at the end of the day. Every day feels like Monday for you. When it's time to get up in the morning, you hit the snooze at least 2 or 3 times. And it's just hard to get up in the morning. And you're like, is it Monday? No, boo, it's actually Thursday. So sign number 1 that you are experiencing responsibility fatigue is that you are always exhausted. All right, let's move on to sign number 2. And this may not be, you may have not thought about this that way, but sign number 2 is that you overthink everything. So you ruminate, you sit and think about the decision you got to make over and over again. You second guess yourself. You second guess your own intuition too often. And that process alone, that you use, the mental resources you use alone when you sit and overthink everything, it can be exhausting and create an anxiety spiral. And I know some people can relate to that. Sign number 3. So we're going through the 6 signs that you might be experiencing responsibility fatigue. Sign number 3, you take constructive criticism too personally. Anybody can relate? So it's hard for you during this time of year, if you are experiencing responsibility fatigue, it's hard for you to receive any type of feedback at this time from your kids, from your coworkers, from your boss. Maybe you have employees, from your team members. You don't want to receive no feedback. It doesn't go over well. You might notice that you're easily offended more than usual. This is a symptom of responsibility fatigue. Okay. So, again, welcome. If you're just tuning in, be sure to catch the replay because we've been talking about breaking up with busy. We're kicking off the series. This is episode number 1. But to start, we don't want to jump into strategies. We got to get to the root before we get to the fruit. So we are talking about building awareness around responsibility fatigue. All right. So we talked about the first 3 signs. I want to jump into the rest of them. So if you missed the first 3 signs, go back and catch the replay. But I still want to hear your comments after you've watched it. Put some comments in the chat. If you can relate, say I relate. If any of these things are stepping on your toes, say ouch. That just made me laugh because y'all know at my root, I'm Southern Baptist and the preacher is always saying, say ouch, if that relates. Turn to your neighbor and say ouch. Okay, so we're talking about the 6 signs of responsibility fatigue. We've done signs 1 through 3. I want to get to the last 3. So the next signs that you are experiencing responsibility fatigue. Number 4, you're feeling indecisive. So you change your mind after coming to a simple decision, such as what activity to do with a friend or what food to eat. You can't even choose what food to eat. You like, I don't know what I want to eat today. And so you end up eating the wrong thing, right? And then once you come to another decision, you change your mind all over again. I see an ouch in the chat. Yep, absolutely. I know we all can relate. I can relate. This is why this topic is so important to me, because I'm always trying to build awareness around all of the things on my plate. And later on in the series, we're going to talk about how to manage your energy. We're going to talk about how to manage other people's expectations of your time. But we're not going to get to that just yet. We're sticking to what are the signs. We want to build awareness around what you're currently experiencing in your world. So sign number 4 was you're feeling indecisive. Sign number 5, you're a workaholic. You don't even want to deal with the stress. You just going to drown yourself in your work so that you don't have to deal with people or you don't have to make decisions. You're like, but I'm being productive. No, you're not. You are trying to avoid making the decisions. You are trying to avoid the people that you don't want to deal with. And so this is a symptom of responsibility fatigue. Okay. All right. Welcome to the show, Lanita. Thanks for joining. All right. So we talked about the first 5 symptoms. The last last symptom that I want to cover today in terms of what are signs of responsibility fatigue is you often feel, number 6, you often feel anxious or resentful. All right. And being resentful or having resentment is often a very, very clear indicator that we have gone beyond our limits. I done had enough. I have had enough. And you are over it. You are over people. You are over people taking advantage of your compassion, right? Of your kindness. And you have had enough. This often happens when we've been too generous, so generous with ourselves, with our time, and with our internal resources. And you feel like there has been no reward, right? So this is one of the final signs I wanted to cover today in terms of responsibility fatigue. And I know we all have experienced this. This definitely happens this time of year. Maybe you have children that have really, really busy schedules and you don't feel like they showing gratitude for you making time to do what they need to do, or team members or parents. It can be anybody. Those are the 6 signs of responsibility fatigue. And we wanted to talk about these today so that you can just start to think about, oh, maybe this is what I'm feeling right now, or maybe this is why I feel anxious, or maybe this is why, because I am overwhelmed. I'm overloaded. There are a lot of things on my plate and I need to do something about it. And when I coach my clients, even when I self-coach, before I even look at a solution, I want to understand the problem. And so that was our goal today. So today we wanted to get to the root so that next week we can get to the fruit. Okay. Next week we'll talk about the solutions, but understanding that you might actually be experiencing this thing called responsibility fatigue is a great place to start. All right. So I want to thank everybody that joined me today. Next week, we are going to continue this series, Break Up with Busy, and we're going to talk about ways to manage our energy. One of my favorite things to say to people, and I actually say this to them when they are trying to add things to my calendar, I like to say, I'm on an energy budget. I am managing my energy in this season, and so I will have to get back to you. So I want to dig into more ways to manage people's expectations of your energy and of your time. I'm going to walk through some of my signature strategies for identifying blockers to your schedule, to time, to your energy, and just so that you can just create more space for yourself so that you can do the things you really need to do so that you could serve the purpose that you really need to serve, because we got to break up with busy in this season. Busy is not welcomed here anymore. I remember being younger and wearing busyness as a badge of honor. I remember saying things like, "Oh, I'm just so busy," like I should be proud of that. We're not doing that anymore. We are resigning from busy, from overwhelm, from exhaustion, from stress as a way of life. It is not anything to be proud of. What you want to do is just create more space for peace of mind, for joy, and for happiness so that you can be the most fully expressed version of yourself in every area that you operate in. Being a parent, being a friend, being a sister, being a team member, being a leader in your organization. We want you to have that space and that runway to show up as your best self. And this is why we're breaking up with busy, because we got to let that stuff go so that we can show up as our best selves and do the things that we were put on this earth to do. All right. So thank you so much for joining Everyday Ease today. I'm your host, Chianti Lomax, certified coach and transformation strategist. I help high-powered women and some men move from overwhelm to ease through self-leadership practices and liberation strategy, because I believe that freedom and authentic happiness looks good on you. All right. So thank you everyone for joining. I just want to see who we have in the chat before I go. You can have it, John. Energy budget. Tell these people you are on an energy budget. All right, Lenita, thank you so much for joining. If you found this information helpful or you would like to chat more, feel free to check me out on my website. We could book a time to chat, www.chiantilomax.com. That's all we have for today. So I'm going to see y'all. I'm going to see y'all next week, same time, same place, okay? Bring your coffee, your tea, whatever you need to caffeinate or hydrate, because I'm going to be here. And I hope you join me here too. Until next time, the light in me honors, cherishes, and supports the light in you. Go create yourself an amazing day, but remember to do it with ease. All right, y'all. See y'all next Friday.